Greetings sailors, welcome back to World of Warships, and I thought I would take a look at the Halloween mode, or the latest version of it anyway, because it's a little bit different than previously. Up until now it's always been a fixed list of ships that you're given, sometimes with a few extras that you can unlock, and that's it. That's all you have for the scenario, and there aren't really any captain skills. Although, I think that there have been in the past, but it sort of depends which year you're looking at. I think the last couple of years there haven't been any captain skills. This time round they've decided to do it in a completely different way. You can basically use any of your tier 9 and 10 ships that you have, but each of the classes comes with its own set of bonuses. So cruisers, which is what I'm going to play today, well, they get a nice buff to their HE fire chance, their reload time, battery traverse, and the HP regeneration is particularly nice because it means as you're dealing damage, you're healing yourself as you go along. So it's not even as previous years where you have to hit a consumable, and it's only while that consumable is active that you get that damage dealing health buff regen thing. Words are difficult, you guys. You know what I mean. So yeah, we're going to take the Schroeder because why not? Something a bit different, and see how that does. But for other ships, I mean, destroyers get like half off their torpedo reload, which makes a whole bunch of destroyers viable that ordinarily wouldn't be, and their torpedoes are faster. Battleships basically get more hit points. They take a bit less damage from ticking fire sources. CVs basically can't run out of planes. They get like a minus 90% to plane regen. So yeah, there's all kinds of things going on. And subs, well, I don't know because I don't have any tier 8 subs, but I'm sure subs get a buff as well. It is possible to take subs in this mode, but I've only seen one person attempt it, and to be honest, it doesn't really seem worth doing. So I don't know what the buffs are, but yeah, even with the buffs, I don't think this is really very suited to submarines. But hey, at least it lets you have a go if you really want to, because ordinarily operations don't. So we've got 3 markers to get to. This is the Sunray map, by the way, which you probably recognise if you played any of the Halloween before, but we're coming at it from the other direction, because it used to be you would come out of the portal and then follow your way up to the map and fight off a bunch of enemies as you go, and having to seal the portal. But that's not what you do anymore. This time we're doing it in reverse, and we have to deal with some ships spawning along the way, but it's not nearly as many as previous years, and they all seem to have, well, generally higher amounts of hit points, but not too much higher than you would expect, apart from the Gorgon, the aircraft carrier, which is back, which has 200k, and then there's a pair of Rasputins at the end which have 100k each. Oh, okay, well, I was a little off of my reaction there. Yeah, the other special enemy you get are, well, they haven't appeared yet, but there's a trio of special destroyers that will appear, and that sort of jump in and out at various stages. You have to try and knock them off at the point where they are actually there for you to shoot at, because obviously once they've blipped away again, there's not much you can do, because they're not there to shoot at. I really, this is 100% me. Probably shouldn't be making a video today, but I'm trying anyway, and this is the result. Fortunately, this one isn't too complicated, and it doesn't require too much brain power. Anyway, I might as well actually switch to high explosive, to be honest. It's probably, yeah, probably the better choice right now. I don't have any torpedoes in this, so that's a bit of a downside with the Schroeder. I think things with torpedoes are going to be handy, although everything is very damage resistant. So having said that, things like torpedoes, shells, they don't tend to do nearly as much damage as you think they will. So even though there are fewer enemies overall than previous iterations of Same Transylvania and Sunray especially, it is actually like the enemies that are there are tougher and they take longer to kill. So that's the first lot, the first iteration of these 3 destroyers. I think, are they Furies? I think they're named after Furies. It's something from Greek mythology anyway. I only recognise one of the names in particular. Well, I say that, Megara is the one I sort of recognise, but of course there's a tank destroyer called the Electo, which any World of Tanks players will know that name as well. So, yeah, which I did not peg previously was going to be a Greek name, but it sort of makes sense. That sounds like something the Brits would do. Anyway, these things have a whole bunch of hit points, and you know, if you're lucky, you can, if you focus fire, everybody can, you know, coordinate and take one out per appearance, as it were. But in this case, now all 3 of them got to make a getaway. This might not well be at all the best ship for this mode, to be honest. Something like a standard heavy cruiser is probably going to be much better suited. I do wonder, I haven't actually checked with the British, the light cruisers, the AP only cruisers, what happens with them? Because of course they don't get the benefit of fire chance at all. I mean, well, technically they do, it'll apply to their secondary guns, but well, I'm assuming it will. But yeah, I don't know, they seem like they would be difficult ones to take. I haven't actually tried them yet. Did I just... I did. Whoopsie, it's fine. Yeah, let's try some AP shells. So about the best I've done damage-wise is probably 200k. You'll see at the end the XP. I think the XP is actually better than normal operations, but you don't get quite as much. Like, there are some operations where you can rack up, with a little bit of effort, you can rack up like 400k. You can't do that in this. Unless you get very, very lucky with the Gorgons and the Rasputins. But yeah, it does seem to pay out better than regular operations, which is quite nice. Right, let's... yeah, this might actually be better with a secondary spec build. So I have to be very careful not to go outside the safe circle. This is actually a mechanic, sort of an inverse mechanic actually of last time, where you had the expanding area of the filth that you had to worry about. Well, this time you've got this this sort of shrinking safe zone around the Transylvania, and okay, they do actually heal between appearances. That's interesting. Yeah, if you go outside, you take a lot of damage. A lot of damage very, very quickly. So, yeah. It's absolutely, you know, not a thing you want to do. Right, let's kick ourselves into rapid reverse gear, shall we? Use the speed boost. So, yeah, it's a bit... like, these guys always appear at the same place, and it's a bit tricky if you've forgotten they're going to appear. I've done that once or twice and been far too close to them in a destroyer, and if you're in a destroyer they will wreck you. So yeah, I'm going to take a torpedo here, aren't I? I am trying to go forwards here, Prince Ruprecht. Yeah, so having my own heal is a bit useful. So yeah, this is, I think light cruisers, heavy cruisers are going to be much better off than things like this in the Siegfried. Just because, yeah, things take a bit less damage. You're not really getting broadsides to shoot at very much either, which is where these guns would really come into their own. And as fire setting guns, you know, you want the rate of fire as alongside the shell size. So, not simple choice, as I'm discovering. But hey, it's not nearly as bad as trying to take a submarine. So I've got that going for me, which is nice. Let's try AP after this. Now I do have what's his face on this ship, so actually I've landed enough secondary hits that The bonus is quite nice, but it's not with any extra accuracy. There we go. It was enough of a broadside there to do something. I don't know if they the enemy ships take damage if they come into the sort of safe area, but who knows? Just the secondaries that sneaked to that kill. That was very cheeky of them. Right, there we go. The turret traverse is quite nice. So that's all 3 of those towers collected, which give a bunch of damage resistance to the Transylvania. And that's very useful because we're going to have the carrier appear quite soon, as well as Pommer, and you're going to sink. You're definitely, if you just stay out there, you're going to sink. I'm trying very carefully to say it. The health drain is real. I saw a Kansas in one of the previous times playing this that wandered outside and then just was not remotely fast enough to get back in and just sank. But yeah, the 2 Rasputins and the carrier are appearing very shortly, so that's what I was trying to vaguely say. And here's where torpedoes would be very useful, because I mean, fire is good as well. You really need, for the Rasputins maybe not quite so much, because you are now packing tier 8 and tier 9 guns to deal with them. But yeah, even with the damage resistance, fire is still a very, very useful tool. Or with the damage resistance, fire is a useful tool still. That's what I was trying to say there. Yeah. I probably really shouldn't be trying to do a video today, but this is just, this is why some days I don't video, because I can't brain, and then I just end up with just a mess of whatever the hell this is. But anyway, we're trying anyway. You're getting a little sort of sneak preview of why some days I just don't try and record videos, or I do try and record videos but then just scrap the recording because it's just warbly nonsense. Right, there's the Gorgon. So one thing the Schroeder does have going for it is the pretty good secondary suite for a cruiser. But you're still better off with a German battleship for that, really. Something like the Atlantico, I think, would be very, very good as well. Just with its 9-inch secondaries, the bigger fire chance on those, I suspect, would come in very, very useful. You might notice, by the way, the enemy shells are very slow. You do have a decent chance of dodging out the way. Everybody gets some kind of rudder buff to their ship. But if you're at close range, you're in a destroyer, it can be still kind of difficult to dodge. Anyway, as a permanent thing, this, deal damage, get health back. It's quite nice. It makes cruisers actually really very durable. I also got a little captain skill thing there, firing off from what's his face, because I've been getting some spotting ribbons, which is quite nice. I think I've even got a mission at the moment for spotting ribbons. All the like, this just counts as an operation, so basically all the missions are that are valid in operations are valid in this mode as well, which is quite nice. And there's even a specific mission which gets you some of the Halloween containers. So yeah, there you go, there's the Gorgon, which is for some reason marked as Shikaku brackets old. I don't quite know why, but there we go. Something to do with the, I don't know, bringing in an older version of the Shikaku that, rather than redoing it, maybe. And then, yeah, adding it in as, I mean, I guess it's just being added in as a separate ship for this moment, so doesn't matter that it's the older version. But I guess they had to call it Shikaku brackets old because, it might You don't want the game to get confused with Shikaku brackets new, which is definitely a thing. Oh, there we go. That's the first ship we've lost, which gives everybody a little buff. It doesn't actually tell you what the buff is, but I suspect it's just a buff to all of the mission-specific buffs, as it were. So maybe a reload gets a little bit quicker and everything else. So there we go, last Rasputin's done, and we actually managed to get it to the end with losing barely any of its health, so that's not bad. This was a pretty good run. I even managed a decent amount of damage in the end, but it'll be interesting to see quite how much of that was from secondaries. Maybe I should rebuild this as put the secondary module on it if I'm going to take it in this, but probably not worth it really. Anyway, it wasn't as bad as I expected. So there we go, 5 out of 5. Apologies by the way if you've been able to hear the wind whistling in the background. It is a little bit breezy today. That was enough for, I don't even know. This was actually, I've done better score-wise in other runs, but it's usually when more people have died and so there's more damage for you to hoover up at the end. So everyone was over 1,000 base XP there, that was alright. So yeah, how much was 74k from fires, 35k from the secondaries, and then okay, and some of the fires will have been set by the secondaries, so that sort of wound up being quite handy. And there you go, decent credits as well. So yeah, it's not a bad XP and credit farm, and the fact that you get to use captains with relevant skills and all that, you know, that's quite nice as well. So yeah, I do like this, and I'm kind of interested to see what's going to be the second part of Halloween, given that they've sort of already cannibalized what was the old second part of the Halloween missions to make this. So, you know, long gone are the days of flaming catapults at this point, apparently. And although maybe they'll be back and we'll have that familiar map that's been the Halloween first part for I don't know how many years now. Who knows? Maybe it says in an article somewhere exactly what the second part of the Halloween stuff is going to be, and I've just not read it. Anyway, that's it, I think. I don't suppose there's much point in... Like, I could jump in a destroyer or a battleship or something and do it again, but it's the exact same thing. It's just the ship buffs will be different. But yeah, I mean, it's nice that you can play around and have a much bigger variety, and I am definitely a fan of what they've done this time round, even if you do sometimes get people trying to take submarines for some reason. I don't know why you would, but you know, anyway. So that's it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and if you have, you can do all the usual things down underneath the video, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.